Hello and welcome to the GitGud Painting Podcast. We are on episode 10. It's our 10th birthday. Wonderful. I am Bruce and I'm joined as always by Magnus. Magnus, how are you doing? Good?
Well,
you great?
I'm okay, but it's been really rough. I
mean, it was 3 weeks ago. You were like, I've slept so well. Life is so good. This is, and now, how's it been?
Yeah, man, we went to a birthday party, wife, myself, and the baby, and I don't know. It's Corona is rampant here in Denmark again, and flu too. I don't know what we got, but we got something at least, and it started with me and throat ache and a bit of snot and a bit of fever and stuff like that for a couple of days, and then it transitioned straight into the baby, and it found a hold, and the baby that just doesn't want to sleep because she's coughing when she sleeps and doesn't want to eat because oh my god, and things she loved before she just did not want to eat, so you're just struggling against everything. And I was a bit poorly, and my wife had to go to work still, and so now the baby is on the other side of that, and I was finally allowed back into the bed, relegated to the couch for most of this week because I mean we had to take shifts in looking after that baby. So I got back into the
so
master
we're back
bedroom.
on sleep is a myth.
So I overslept a bit today, and my throat is still killing me a bit. And now I have two other kids. One is with a throat ache and the other one is coughing. So it's just...
And then as they're getting better, they'll give it back to you.
For the third time,
And the circle of life continues.
Yes, so that, I mean, that virus or whatever is... it found a home probably. We are so many here that can carry it, and... not too much space either, so it will thrive. But
it's
I mean,
endemic to the Nielsen household.
Exactly. So we were 5 family members, a cat, and now we're 7 instead. 6 and a virus.
Yeah, 6 and the permanent virus that now lives with you. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
I mean, we'll have a plate for it at dinner and buy it a present at Christmas and stuff like that. We'll treat it as family.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that won't hit you as hard. Maybe, probably not.
Probably will, but we can share the load at least. Yeah.
Yeah, God, I mean, there was a period once where Cora got a real nasty stomach flu virus thing, and then which is bad. It's no fun. You're dealing with a lot of that, and then it hit me and my wife at the same time, and Cora was fine. She recovered, and we're like, oh no,
not like this.
Yeah, because she was 3, so we couldn't just leave her in front of roadblocks and spend the rest of the day throwing up. No. It was we have to deal with this as best we can, and chaos reigned for that 48-hour period in the house, and just entropy took control. Which sometimes it's going to do that. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do much. I remember from my childhood, because me and my brothers had stomach flu with a full-on coming out of both ends, and I remember my wife my mom was back then really annoyed with my younger brother because he was a bit small, and he grabbed his bed basically because you have no time, right?
You're ill, you're real poorly.
And you think you're a bit. It hurts a bit, and then it's
astray.
Shit. You easily can, and my mom back then was, god damn it, this, and then 30 minutes, an hour later, she came up to us and was like, I'm sorry, I just shit my pants too. You just can't do anything.
God.
So sometimes these illnesses, they just take hold, and it starts with one person, and then it's everyone, and then it's the school, and then it's the entire city, and now COVID is worldwide.
That's it.
Yeah.
And this is all because it's no longer spooky season. This wouldn't happen in spooky season, but because spooky season's gone, And now we have Christmas on the horizon.
Yeah, it's
this
true.
is why it happens. This is why.
Everyone gets poorly.
No,
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
we in the Rose household, we've kept spooky vibes going.
That's the way to. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
No Christmas yet. We got some friends coming over this weekend to do spooky game night, which is
nice.
an annual tradition where we spend the night playing through a spooky game together. And that once that's passed, then I will entertain Christmas being real, but not until that's passed. So you take most of November and have that spooky. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah. I mean, we're not huge into Christmas season in the sense that decorate. My wife is a Buddhist, but we do celebrate Christmas. But I mean, enjoying the lights and the everything is just it's something different. And December for me always feels different. So and especially because I think it will be a lot of those vibes this go around too, as I take Nelly to daycare during December, right? So it's getting up early, having early morning breakfast and a tea, and getting out into the cold weather is kind of part of that Christmas thing, right?
It's get your big hat on.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it will be a lot of that. And I'm looking forward to it. So I do enjoy Christmas season too. So
fine.
Yeah.
I'll allow it this once. Just as
well, it's coming back next year, but we'll see to that then.
It is, yeah. No, okay, right. Yeah. So you've been poorly. I've not been poorly. It's been actually Cora did get it. She got skin rash, which is like it's cool. Fine. Yeah, I mean, just one of those things. But kids, you can treat an adult. You can treat an adult, no problem. They'll generally do what they're supposed to. Not always, obviously. No. Occasionally, will be idiots too. But when you have a kid who has like this skin rash around her mouth, and I'm like, you can't bite your lips now. You need to not bite your lips. And she's like, getting that healed. Multiple trips to the GP, which in the UK is like you have to ring at 8 a.m. hoping for the appointment. Anyway, so. No, it's been fine. Life is fine. It's good here in the Rose household.
Well, you were hit by work too, so it's not like. Yeah. I mean, it's we had a busy. I'd say that the past month, basically from we came out of Cold Demon, it has been really busy. With just everything, not only this, but everything.
Yeah.
So it's
life hits you sometimes. And that's okay.
Yeah, which is fine too, and it's actually one of the things that I think is important to talk about a bit, because I do a fair bit of tuition, right? And people want to do tuition and they want to be, I guess, good. Kind of like when you go on a training program, right? And you want to be good. You want to stick to it. You want to be disciplined and meticulous. But sometimes you just cannot, and it instead of beating yourself up about so I missed this one or whatever, do as much as you can, right? Always strive at doing as much as you can, but sometimes you will have a shit week, and you just cannot do the thing you wanted to do. You were sick, or kids were sick, or work was sick, or family was sick, or whatever. I mean, anything can happen. Or it's just that week where, well, the car broke down and you had to bike, so you lost 2 hours because of commuting, and those were the 2 hours you thought you were going to paint during the night, or whatever. I'm just saying that sometimes things just happen.
Big plans to paint, and then you're shitting yourself before you know it, and then you're not painting at all.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to everybody, and I think we kind of maybe forget it a bit, because striving for something better and being exposed to only the snapshot of seeing something better. When you see me painting something, or any other artist painting something, you can't really tell all the nights that I had to book it because, well, this is just not a night for it. I can't do it tonight. I really wanted to, but I can't. You see a finished piece, but you don't see any of the story. And that's, I think that gets lost, and I think so it is a good thing to kind of talk about. Yeah, sometimes life happens. Sometimes you're just not in the mood for it. Slap some paint on something else, or clean a model, or prep something, or sculpt something, or whatever, right?
Yeah, it was interesting. I had that in microcosm at Eric's workshop, I think, like ages ago. It's like first day I'm vibing, I've got this,
yes.
I'm understanding it, I understand cash shadow, and then day 2 is like NMM, and I'm like, fuck, I got none of this. This is not going in. I'm just going to be frustrated. But I mean, but also it is okay sometimes to push through that frustration. No. You still learn things. Like there is. I think it happens more often these days when I sit down to paint and everything clicks and everything flows, and you're like, yes, this is good. I'm just painting this. But those days do happen.
Of course, just like
don't know what it is.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to, it's kind of important for me to say that any and all of the emotions or feelings as you are sit down is okay. It's not like you can be frustrated when you sit there and it doesn't work or excited. If that's the thing, that's of course that's okay. But kind of carrying that with you is where I think it's better to realize that, well, everybody else has a bad painting session once in a while, right? It's just how it is. Or sometimes you try something for the first time and it doesn't really work. Yeah, you're bummed out about it, and it wasn't everything you hoped. But I mean, how do you find out if you don't try it, right? That's how you find out.
Like how much of because one of the things I've always tried to keep in mind is that like Olympiad training thing, and I forget the source, so someone may let me know in the comments. But it's basically like as a coach explaining to someone they were teaching, like in terms of how you should feel on a day-to-day, and it's like a third of your training sessions will be great. You'll feel strong, you feel like you're making progress, you'll be kicking ass. A third of them will feel average. They will be just things are ticking along. I'm not feeling particularly strong, but I'm not feeling weak. And then the third will be bad, and you're going to feel like you're failing, or you're getting it wrong, or you're mucking up. And like, I try and think that like, 2/3 of the time it's good. And it's either average or better than average, wonderful. And the 1/3 of the time the things aren't clicking, that's okay. This is part of it. You're still learning stuff, you're still applying stuff. Don't worry too much about it. Don't let it get to you is probably like the key thing, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay to be frustrated about it, but it shouldn't be something that a week later you're still beating yourself up about that one session where you mucked up something that you shouldn't have, well, whatever. I mean, it's too easy to correct mistakes on what we do to be really mad about something. I mean, you can almost always strip something or paint over, or I mean, I get the feeling that sometimes you can't because of yourself, but physically you can. You can put it in that IPA bath and strip it and try it over. Maybe you mentally are blocked from it because of whatever, but it's not like it's not a possibility. And I mean, I've painted things, repainted things, because later on I didn't feel it was good enough, and that's just how it is.
There may be mental impediments, but that is something that you can ultimately work through. I think probably one of the good things about community is keeping sane in that regard. Like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this, and people are like, no.
I wanted to varnish yesterday so badly, dude. I had that varnish out of the cabinet and already shook it, and
no.
And then Carl Michael wrote me in a private message and was like, dude, I will give you all the links and I will send you my spare compressor. You stop that stuff. You're not going to do it. Don't. I will help you through this. You're not going to rattle can varnish anything anymore. Don't do it.
Please stop. Please stop. Okay, good. Well, I mean, okay.
So community keeping you safe is
That's it. I think if I'm ever in doubt and I just ask the question, you get a good sense quite quickly whether you should or should not be doing something. And let's be honest, you kind of know when you shouldn't be doing something.
You kind of know, but it's sometimes you need someone to stop you, right?
Guys, should I maybe do that? And sometimes you need to throw a Leviathan Dreadnought in the bin. That's okay. We have to make allowances for all things.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So maybe that's a good bridge then into this first topic of like getting out of comfort zones, because both of us have been doing that. Having spoke with the Dark Ones, have I mean it's as finished as this project can be, barring feedback and things like that.
I need to figure out varnish in the sense that I think it's going to be brushing on. Just reprime it, right? I have two areas where it's too satiny looking to me, so I think I will try out with a brushed on ultra matte before anything else, and it should take care of it. So that's one thing. And yesterday, so because I sculpted the base, it is incredibly hard to get the sides super flush. I don't have a belt sander or anything like that. And you don't really see it until you put that black primer on, because then you can see, because everything is the same color and it's super flat. So I can see any small imperfections or whatever. So I tried to fix those a bit yesterday with some putty. So I need to do a light sanding and then try again. But because it's sculpted of different materials, so one thing is you have the plinth itself, but you also have
a wooden plinth, isn't it?
Yeah, these are one of those. I guess it's kind of like sawdust and glue, right? When they compress it and
like
some kind of
board thing.
Yeah, some kind of that at least, and then it's lathed afterwards. I would be thinking. But because it's that, so that's one material. Then you have the epoxy putty milliput, which has another kind of hardness to it. And then I used a tiny bit of the DAS clay because it's so easy to mold.
Yes.
So you can kind of mold it into whatever shape and just press it in there. And it's very, very easy to sand. But because that's very easy and some parts are not as easy, when you kind of hand sand it, you can accidentally sand a bit too much of that, which has because you're putting pressure, but even pressure will have like more effect on something that is softer. Of course it will.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So because it's not a belt sander, you can accidentally sand a tiny bit too much of that, and it's not like it's a massive thing, but you can kind of tell a bit. So I've applied a bit more of that and have to be really gentle with the sanding, and then
just take it easy. It'll be fine.
Take your time. And because of and I've done it 4 times already on the plinth, so it's not like So also now I cannot spray anything because it's done. So I have to paint on the black once more. So now I have to get the biggest brush I can, thin matte black paint over. And you have to be delicate to not get brush strokes and stuff like that. You can do it. It's not like that. But you have to be delicate, and it has to be thin, and you have to kind of wrap around before it dries up. So you do,
It is it is the benefit of an airbrush sometimes. Like you can do that level of precision, and so you can.
Yes.
Because it's one of the things I hate, but I have that obsession with the plinth being like smooth.
Super. Yeah.
And you have to reprime it, like you get those different finishes, and then you have to. It takes ages sometimes. And then, like if you get it all wrong, it's like right, I'm sanding the paint off my plinth, even though it's already got a painted thing on, and it just.
Yep. So it's going to be, and I mean, it's not terrible or anything, and I was come to a point where I was like, this. I mean, there is also a limit to what you can do. If a judge will look at that plinth and say, well, the plinth isn't immaculate, notable. Well, okay. I mean,
I'll teach you.
I'll take that, and then I know for next time that I should not enter that kind of competition.
Yeah, I think that would be a fair outcome.
Yeah. So I'm giving it one last shot, and then he's done, and then I'll share it to social media as soon as I've got those two things sorted, because I don't think I've shared any work on the plinth for social media. Just we have a video coming up on both painting rock texture and the sculpting part. It's a bit hard to show it, but I'm showing the steps at least and talking a bit about what I'm doing.
Which I guess then like is the core point of this idea of comfort zone, because I think both of us left Golden Demon like basing is something that we can do better. And I kind of leapt into it with my algorithm, and I've tried to kind of keep that going with the projects I'm working on now. And then you obviously had the Trogoth base to do once you knew like, hey, this is a Golden Demon piece. I'll be bringing this to Adepticon. And then you looked back at Dante, and you were like, I don't like this base anymore. So well, I guess like
no, Roman didn't like it. I liked
Bastard.
it.
What a
yeah, it probably wasn't even Roman, but.
But like you were like, okay, I don't do like you were like, I like my gaming pieces. I like the pre-built stuff. But you were like, I'm going to push this, and like walk me through that.
Yeah, I mean, so two things are true in the sense that I actually had previously, and I've said it more than once, not going back to that model.
Yes, I've heard that a few times.
Oh, I said it so much, but
I mean, Dante is done. I can't go back to it.
Have a stance until you take another, right? I mean. Well, I came out of Spiel, not, I won't say bummed out about Dante, because I knew the things it had against it, but still a bit like when you put a lot of effort into something and didn't really reach the level. I had hoped for a commended for it, but I mean, I understand why it might not get one. So I actually started out, and I had a talk with Arno, talking a bit about it. And I thought to myself, okay, so this piece is done. It did its thing, and that means it's kind of no more shackles. I can. If I want to reprime it, I could reprime it. If I wanted to strip it, I could strip it. It's a done model. I have the photos, I have the everything. It got that pin or whatever it got, and I mean, so the project is over. No harm in, because I sometimes towards the end get into a point where, I don't dare touch this, because if I do, I might be making things worse, and I don't want to make things worse going into a competition. But now I'm on the other side of it. So I actually started out by painting over the shoulder pad. I had it in a gold pattern before, or NMM gold before, and I painted it over in red, and I really like the look. So shout out to everyone who told me that should be red, and I said, yeah, but I'm doing it in gold. It looks better. It just looks better, to the point where I was like, yeah, that looks better. Maybe I'll put in a bit more of a refined reflection pattern on the armor itself. So I put in some reflections, and now I'm like, well, suddenly I spent 15 hours on this project that I was done with once more. It looks better. Yeah, maybe it does deserve a better base. So I tried to rescue the base it was on.
And how did that go?
Fucking hell. I showed the pictures to Simon, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Showed him the pictures, and he's like, oh, shit, buddy. Can you rip that shit off? Because you don't want that. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I don't know what to do. And he's like, I don't know, but maybe could you do another base or... And Simon's soft voice kind of led me to... Okay, well and
shouts out to Simon. He is good at that, I find. He'll just give it to you straight up, unvarnished, like,
yes.
What if this wasn't dog shit? I'm like, good point, Simon. I'll rework
You have a really great point there. It's, maybe that would elevate the piece. So it's, but he's right. Everyone was. And it's not like, and I couldn't see a way to fix what I had. So, and I knew, because I was a bit, I don't want to say anxious, but kind of going into the Trogoth base because I had an idea, but nothing fleshed out. I cannot draw to save my life, and I'm not visual. So I had looked at some bases and some inspiration here or there, but how everything comes together and really hard for me. And I hadn't really sculpted with putties and stuff like that before. So I thought, okay, well, it can't get any worse. I mean,
it's freeing, isn't it? Everything is an improvement.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and I don't have to take this anywhere, and I don't have to tell anyone if it goes wrong, and I can just throw it straight in the bin or whatever. I can send it as
the Dreadnought.
Secret Santa or whatever. Someone just getting Dante with no base.
What's this? Don't worry about
it. So I started sculpting quite a simple base for Dante. I didn't want to go out of the gaming base size because that was actually the reason why I had him on the gaming base to begin with. So I sculpted that, and I had fun. I learned some things and some things not to do, and it looks much better now, luckily. So it did turn out the way it was supposed to. Is it a perfect base? No. Is it a great base? I'd say it's a medium base. But I mean, a medium base is quite a step up from a dog shit one.
That is true. And, you know, there's always then the risk of the eternal question, what is a base? What does a base need to be? What should a base be in a competition about there are no easy answers for that. Like, I've been looking at that Death Guard kill team, and they'll come with the bases. And part of me is like, just paint the base really well. Like, if you were going to do the entire squad, which I'm considering, Lord help me, like, the bases are nice. Like, they
small, like 20 millimeter gaming sized plinths. Put them on there. Maybe hollow out like a bit so you get a bit more room to do something. But that is sexy. It is to me because it's something where you want to show the unit. You make something small, light and tight. I want to say. And it really works for units. Especially for units, I actually really enjoy.
Yeah, no,
they look like they are
seeing
gaming
them and feel like the people that opted for that approach. And I got to see Simon's Death Guard. Recently, which I saw at MPO, but at MPO you couldn't really see stuff like that person. Getting to hold it and see, I'm like, this really works. Like, I think if I redid the Ultramarine squad now, I'd do them as separate bases. Yeah. Like, I just think it's easier because you don't have to worry about the totality of the light volumes. And that array is just nice. Just one.
You can see everything clearly, and there is something. This is such a personal thing, but there's something about the individual look of it. So that they feel like you could game with it. It's not. I know it's a small plinth, like whatever, 15, 20 mil in height, but it's still it just feels like they are the miniatures they were always supposed to be, not crammed into a diorama, right? And and that's what why I wanted the same for Dante, right? I wanted him on a gaming sized thing, not too big or too anything, because I wanted it to be about that model. I wanted it to be the look of Dante, not the look. I mean, I did a much larger base for the Trogoth, and it's because I wanted it to be like not a scene, but something that is taken out of context, right?
You want to be like Scott Frazier, just do a best of category squad and then start slinging them on the gaming table.
I mean, isn't that the
Man's
dream?
living his dream. Oh, be like Scott. There's words to live by.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I actually wasn't it exciting to see the other pieces in hand, in real life, really getting to hold them? Because Josh kind of, it slipped out that you guys had a meetup in secret. And no one was told about it. No one was invited, even though it's only a 1.5 hour flight for me. But
I mean, I'm being put on blast live in this recording. It was. I think so. It was very interesting to me from an act like I'd been working on some things that people hadn't seen in the flesh, and. Like, I always find it really useful. Like, you give me a lot of feedback. We have a lot of talks on like works in progress and things like that. But there's limitations in terms of what a photograph can show. And you don't fully appreciate like scale in certain cases. And so it was, for me, it was an opportunity like, hey, these are all pairs I really respect. So I can get some feedback in person. That'd be nice. But then also, it was an opportunity for me to give Josh shit because it's sort of like, I'm not sure on my work. Like, is it any good? And then it's like, okay, well, we'll see it in person, and then we can make a call.
Show
and
it.
And then the immediate feedback is, wow, you're terrible at photographs. How about that? Like, maybe some of the things that I thought weren't so hot on this model are actually because you can't take a photograph, which is like, that's the right way round. Is like. Yeah. You want to be doing good paint work and bad photos than great photos, bad paint work. Like, and so like that was, it was a little meetup at Element Games in Birmingham to see each other's minis, to chat a bit of crap about minis, and then I'd drive home to go back to the wife and child who are like, it's that community thing again. It's seeing people and talking about something you're really passionate about, and like. Yeah. My wife wouldn't necessarily understand why I really wanted particular Tamiya paints that would work with a Cadian tank.
No.
Fucking talk to Ricky about it. He might know about these paints like that. And so that is, that was very validating and valid. And to rescue myself, so I'm not fully put on blast. I didn't organize it, so I didn't feel like I could invite anyone. So don't blame me.
I'm not blaming anyone.
I didn't want you turning up with your fucking models being like,
no.
About that?
Yeah, I'm giving you shit, but it was more a segue into, because I actually think it's such a strong thing with community if you can find some people that are close-ish, so you can meet up once in a while, because things look different in hand, and you kind of get a bit desensitized by social media and pictures here and there. And I mean, it's just something else to have it there. And you can share that much better if you can find some people that are that are kind of local to you.
Yeah. Like you just go off and you find all your Danish compatriots.
I'll be rounding them up.
That's it. I mean, you seem to have quite a cohort over there, so you should do that little meetup. Pop on over to Element Games Birmingham. We'll all meet.
Yeah.
So, like, you redid the Dante base, and you then went into the Trogoth base
in preparation for the Trogoth. Yeah, exactly.
And I want to say, like, obviously the stakes are higher with Trogoth because like you say, like Dante is done. And if you had to send someone a baseless Dante, you'd maybe be bummed out about it, but it wouldn't be the end of the world.
No.
Whereas the Trogoth you've put an obscene amount of hours into, and it's pre-showing
Yeah.
it's a piece with sky high potential. It feels like, so it's like, what, you can't cock this up.
Yeah. It's something that I really didn't want to do something that I couldn't reverse. So I also sculpted the entirety of the base without the Trogoth on, lightly pressed it in so I could set it on afterwards, and then sculpted only the final bit, even when I had most of it painted, like 95%, because I really didn't want to do something that would be too hard to kind of remedy. I will say the process for me was more enjoyable than I would have thought. Maybe I could have done some things differently on it. And I talked to Maxime yesterday because, well, I finished my Trogoth. So I sent him some photos and I was like, look what you made me do. No, so I had a bit of talk with him yesterday, and he had some great pointers actually. Things that I will say I couldn't really go back and fix now or change now. Things that I won't say would definitely be better, because it's, well, in his words, it might be better, but it's something to really have in mind for next projects. So yeah, big thanks to Maxime for
what a name drop.
Yeah, I mean,
just ping Maxime Pinot.
No, dude, I kind of quickly found out that you can send people messages on Instagram.
I know, I get a lot from women that are seemingly very interested in me.
Yeah. So it's just to say that I actually enjoyed also the finishing bit. I oftentimes don't. On Bastion, for example, I hated doing the base so much. I hated doing the 10% that was left on the model itself. Hated it so much. On the Trogoth, I was actually enjoying all of it. I had a stretch where, well, it was a lot of barnacles.
It was a lot of barnacles.
Yeah, it was. But I did 20 barnacles, then another area, then 20 barnacles, then another area, until I had done all 300 or whatever is on that dude. But I actually did enjoy everything. It was not a big, well, it was the first big step for me was getting the hands on and getting them seamless. But I knew, okay, so I can't be anxious about it. I have to put putty there. I need to be as clean as possible, but I will have to repaint some stuff. You can do it. That's okay too. You're not like cooking up something. You are assembling. So it's more about, well, but I already painted this and now I get super glue on or whatever. Yeah, but you have to do it. I mean, then you get super glue on it. Sure thing. Then you do a bit of varnish and then you do a bit of painting over, and now you can't see it. That's just how it is. That's how painting sub-assemblies is, right? Yeah.
You can't take the rough with this. Like, you can't be like, I want all the benefits of sub-assemblies.
Yes, but none of the downside.
Yeah, that for me was Halgrim, because I painted Halgrim in sub-assemblies, and I put him all back together, and then there was just that gap. There's a seam like you get down the side.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, flip. And then you gap fill it, you paint over it, and it looks better than it did when it had the big ugly gap.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that was the little. It felt low stakes enough because it was just like an armor gap. So now, like, if I had to do that again, which, I mean, the Blood Angels captain I'm painting, like, that's in subs, and there's a few areas there I know. Okay, well, this will have to be patched and improved. But some of it, I think you can be just like, look, what do I do? I just leave it? That's worse. So you have to
exactly.
At a certain point.
And I think that was actually David who taught me that, because he gap filled and sanded and whatever on his material so much, because you can miss so many things on that model. It's crazy because it's such a big and complicated one. But every time he found, well, the first couple of times he asked and was like, "Is this noticeable?" And everyone was like, "Yes, very." well, I guess I'll send it. And he did. And it's just, well, seeing him just, okay, so I'm just sanding straight through the layers of paint that I put on. I need to fix it afterwards. That's just how it is. And he fixed it and you can't tell. And I mean, seeing that was enough for me. Well, seeing that 10 times was enough for me to be like, yeah, don't be such a baby, dude. I mean, if he can do it, you can do it. And if you cock it up, that's just how it is. I mean, then you will have to sand more or fill more or whatever, or abandon a project because you don't love it anymore. That's okay too. But you won't be able to make stunning pieces if you don't care for filling that gap or removing that mold line or whatever it is, right?
I think that's the thing is the fallacy I sometimes did in the past was, I'll just throw myself into this and then I'm moving too quickly. And it's like, the classic thing for me was always drilling gun barrel holes. And it's like, it's well worth the extra 20 minutes to get them perfectly center. And yeah, it's faff, but if you have it slightly off and then you paint it later, you're going to hate yourself.
I gap filled the one on Dante. I filled it once more and drilled it out once more, and I even fucked it up the first time too. So, I mean, new putty goes in, and you try again.
Mm-hmm. You have again. Was it milliput easy? Because you need something quite hard. You can't use green stuff for that, can you?
No, I used milliput.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so you have to. And I will say now the Troggoth is almost done, and I think it ends up being when I'm done sanding this bit, repainting, trying to fix the thing with the varnish. I think I have 0 episodes left on those Apocalypse players. Shout out to those guys.
Shout out to the Apocalypse players.
Carried me through this project. I listened to a couple of the ones just before I started the Troggoth, but otherwise I've listened to each and every one of the episodes painting or sculpting Troggoth. So we can look at that. Now we know how many hours I put into it, but it's a lot.
Machine Tractor Station Kokov 76.
I cannot to anyone listening to this, the Apocalypse players, they have the best podcast out there if you love a good horror story. I mean, I'm not joking. It's so good.
If you like real play podcast, Call of Cthulhu, it's very, very good.
It is very good. Machine Tractor Station.
I mean, it's worth it for the mismatch of Russian and Scouse accents that they deploy in that. Very odd, but that carries you through. So
huge shout out to those guys. Thank you.
You've been We'll get in touch for a partnership deal. I'm sure that's
exactly.
So you obviously you've tackled your demons with the Troggoth, but then also you've done a bust.
Yes, I have. Yeah. So
now you're used to your little Warhammer little doolies. So how's this go? You it's the Spira Lady Strangling Owl is the official title.
Yes. Is it called Mama Noma, I think?
Mama No. I mean, that's what Collins called his. I don't know. I
think it is. I think it is. Lenny was he had an extra. And at that point, he had no job. So he was anxious to get a bit of dough. No, I'm saying that. But he had an extra. And he said he wanted to sell it. And I told him I would buy it from him.
Mama Noma is the official title.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You were correct.
And then he sold it to me way too cheap. Because he was like, I think I bought it at around this price, sold it to me. I had it in hand because he delivered it at Spiel. And I think a day later or whatever, he's like, do you know what these guys go for? I have no idea. I've never bought a bust in my life. Well, I didn't either, but do a good job on it.
Yeah, it turns out the Spiro Mirabilis, they go up in value once they're sold out everywhere.
Holy moly, yeah, they apparently do. So I thought to myself, okay, so I need to put in at least 8 hours.
At least.
So I had because we have 8-hour challenge this month, which is absolutely fantastic. Holy moly.
It's the best challenge we've ever run, easily.
I think so. It is so fun to see what people come up with, what kind of different models and schemes within those 8 hours, and kind of you cannot really overthink things. You cannot really. 8 hours is a lot of time, but I'd say it's not that much.
It's enough time to know the plan you need to execute, but you can't be like faffing by any stretch.
No, I found out the hard way. So it's not like, but it's really exciting. And I will say it's also something where personally, I actually feel like it pushes people closer in terms of skill, because I can sit down and spend 200-300 hours on a paint job and it will be really, really top shelf. It will be great looking, but not everyone can sit down and just pour hours and hours into having it look perfect, right? Because there is a limit to in the sense of what can you push your skill to. Because others are capped by time, it means whatever you can utilize your skill within that set amount of time pushes people closer, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, very skilled painters will still be able to, do some fantastic work.
Yeah, of course. But also it's a compression in terms of the people who understand composition very artistically can do wonders. I mean, Colin is a good example of that, of someone like who he'll frequently talk himself down, but it's like, bang, 8 hours. I'm like, God damn, that looks good. Like, because you know the bits that are important, and therefore you can focus on those.
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying that people who might, like, before they can put colors on and have the light on and whatever, but maybe they can't force themselves to just sit down and smooth everything out hour after hour after hour. And I mean, is that what makes the better paint job? Well, in some competitions or for some metrics it is, but it's just really exciting to see that if you have to compromise so you can only do the important parts, well, people tend to be closer, right?
Yeah, and it's changed my approach to busts in future. Maybe not so much to like Warhammer scale minis, because there's I think about this slightly differently. But I've sometimes hesitated starting a bust because it's like, well, how long is this going to take? But in fact, if I can say now, just put 8 hours in and then see how you feel.
Yes.
That changes that rubric quite a lot, because 8 hours is a good amount of time, but it's not so much like, I'll never do 8 hours. That's 8 painting sessions.
No.
Quite short painting sessions. So give it a go. And I learned a lot from where my bust got to then how I finished it with the time over the 8 hours. But you got so much done in 8 hours. It was really quite fantastic.
Yeah. I will say that. Well, so time management, right?
Time management.
I almost got to finish mine in the sense that almost everything had color on it. But I put in, I think it was 2.5 hours after, just to get the back done to the same standard as the front and stuff like that. So I did finish it, not within the 8 hours. Well, if you're good with only a front photo, then
it's perfect.
I did it.
Done.
Yeah, I did it. So I finished the front, but I also found out, if you spend too much time, because I did, I spent a bit too much time on the face because I wanted it to look really good, because you tend to look there, right? So I wanted it to look good, not untextured, but colors right and a bit of variation and lighting good and stuff like that. So I did end up spending a bit too much time there, which meant I just don't have it in the end.
You don't have don't have much time for anything else.
Nope.
Yeah, giving myself when I calculated, because I repainted eyes. Turns out,
yes,
you repaint eyes and
couple
bust.
of times.
Yeah, so that burns through your time quite a lot.
Yeah.
And by the end, I'd left myself an hour to do TMM. I was like, oh boy,
that's rough.
And the thing I learned about TMM is I do quite like, but you have to do so many thin layers. That was always my problem historically. I was basically glazing TMM, which was a very weird feeling. And then you glaze it down, and then it's not enough time. So by the time the 8 hours were done, I was like, you know what? I've learned so much, because my comfort zone was that was all color mixed. I never, I have my array of my AKs. I really like my AKs, but the fact that I can say I use those 4 paints over there, which is the yellow, the blue, the red, and the white, and that was it. And God, I learned so much in terms of like workflow and color mixing. I mean, I didn't learn it strictly in the hours.
A tiny shift in hue is massive effect, right? So you can have the same paints on the palette, mix in a bit more red, right? And now you suddenly have a perfect color for, let's say, the underlight or the eyes or the hair or whatever. So just taking what you already have on the palette and just mixing something in there. Now you're kind of in the same harmonious space, but the hue is shifted enough so it's something distinct. Is really valuable, because we tend to want to grab from the rack and then, so I need to find a new color. So I already used green, so it shouldn't be green because, and it might not be true.
And like I really like the degree of randomness it adds. Because if you're doing skin, say, like, even though I was doing a lich skin or whatever, which is like purple and blue, it's like that was the very intentional thing. But like, I painted it over. I did the skin over like 3 sessions essentially. So each time I mixed that skin color, it was very slightly differently.
Yeah.
And whereas like I guess to the human eye initially, there's no difference. Once it's painted on, it adds a lot of subtle variation that makes it feel more natural. Yeah. In a way that if it was just, this is deep purple, bang, done. Like you would not get that same natural variation. It adds a lot more interest. It's fun,
especially for busts. I think it's so good to have a bit of, like, because you paint larger volumes, right? So you can have, and it does not matter. It's not. Sometimes you get a bit obsessed, and I think it might stem from the army painting thing, where you kind of get obsessed that I have to get the same recipe. It needs to be this recipe because the other dudes look like this or whatever it is. But even when painting non-metallics or whatever, I think it's a strong point to have a bit of hue shift. Yes, some of the reflections, I mean, they are all going to be in ochres because it's gold. But some of them might be a bit more orangey. Some of them might be a bit more greenish. Some of the shadows are like an orange brown. Some of them are purples. I mean, it doesn't matter. They come from the same kind of mother color because you're mixing the same tones basically. But they will have a bit of shift. I mean, so what?
I think how much interest you're adding when you're doing that. Like,
yes, exactly. So instead of having it very, I guess, almost like sterile, I think busts especially lend themselves to having more variation and So I think it's a great thing to. It doesn't even have to be full color mixing. It can also just be, well, I have these 10 colors or 15 colors, and I'm not reaching for another. These should get me to the end goal, and I don't need 3 different sandy kind of color paints in my recipe. I can just grab the one I have, and if I'm not satisfied with it, take a tiny bit of red and put it in there or whatever, right?
Yeah, and see what happens. And
see what happens.
It comes back to the previous point. And if you don't like it, you can fix it.
Yeah, you can just mix in something else. Don't apply it. Or if you apply it and it doesn't look the way you want to, scrub it. I mean,
cover
paint
it in
it over.
Can varnish and frost it.
10, 20 layers of rattle can varnish, and those
That's
wrinkles
me,
are gone.
It's perfect. Done. Oh, jeez. That was when I was redoing all the squad, and I was like, God, I should never be trusted with varnish again. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, you learned that, right? I mean...
Yeah, lesson learned. We move on.
Yeah.
We move on.
Yeah.
So I'd say for both of us then, getting out the comfort zone was beneficial.
Yeah. Been a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's one thing up ahead that I'm nervous about, like, which is like a comfort zone leap, which is the Blood Angels captain has the nice flowing cloak, and doing like a freehand inlay like pattern. That's going to be faffy, but is something that I'm a little bit scared about, but it has to be done because it looks better. And if I cock it up, I'll just paint over it. It'll be fine, and then I'll have to.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you have to do it a couple of times before you get it right? And I mean, but if it's something where you can clearly identify beforehand, this will look better.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't paint your living room in a weird kind of color because that's the one I know how to paint, right? You will paint it so that it looks good because you need to look at it, and you need. Well, some people might, but.
Yeah, I mean, I like just boring. This is why the wife gets to do all the decorating, because I just have no opinions on it.
No, but it's just with the things that you have to look at or use or whatever it is, doing half a job is just, it's only really hurting one person, and that's you.
Yeah, absolutely. Damn. Okay. Well, expect a future breakdown of me going, okay, I get the free headlines. It's good. Yeah. So, okay, I guess mindful of time. It's a long time talking about the comfort zone. We're just out of Monte San. Well, we're not. Monte San Savino has ended. No, big sad. Which for me personally is like the height. Like that's the Mount Olympus to me of our hobby, both because of the quality of work, but the creativity. And just the pieces that went into it. I almost get emotional thinking about some of them. Like, was there anything from like what you've picked that there's way too much for me to talk about. I mean, that I think that Mary Antoinette Kirsten Dunst piece is special, and the best of show is mind blowing.
Yes, yeah, I think so. I watched the Roman video yesterday.
I've yet to watch that. I'm very excited for it.
It's really good. It's really good. I especially like that. Like when you interview people, all kinds of different people, you kind of see how or what drives, right? And not getting deep into it, but you should watch it if you haven't. I especially liked that Monte looks. Because I've not been, but it looks to be more celebration, less competition. You have a lot of people coming because they want to show some art, not as much because they want to win a competition. They aren't gunning for this has to be the most impressive or fretting over maybe this base isn't going to grab the attention of the judges, or I should incorporate more whatever, but more about I want to show this. This is the message that I want to send through my art, and I really, really, really enjoy that competition encompasses that. I think it's the like having people show up without entries just to look at things and meet up with community and be inspired. Having people going there with pieces that, I mean, could you do them better? Maybe, but this is exactly what I wanted to show, right? It's such a contrasting thing from well, we came from Golden Demon, and it's not like I'm not shitting on Golden Demon. I love being there, and I love the competition. So it's not like that. But it's just almost polar opposites, because you really try to cater to what you think judges would want to see in Golden Demon, right? Yeah. Whereas in Monte, you're catering to no one. Well, you're catering to your fellow enthusiasts.
Yeah.
You want others to look at your stuff and hopefully get the message that you're sending, right?
Yeah, like you can't. It's that you cannot quantify art, and therefore, I just can't imagine Eric with a piece that he lights on fire at Golden Demon, and yet, or the one of the I guess the more like emotional like vignettes, the Tales of Cancer section, which like is an artistic theme, and seeing some of the work that like moved me to tears. It's just stunning, and that to me is the purest sense. I know there's this big debate of like, well, what's the most prestigious? What's the thing? That's why I think Monte is almost king for me, because I'm in awe of the brains there and the work there. It's a special show, and we've got to go.
And it's special because it feels like it's less about prestige and more about people coming together.
Yeah.
Which inadvertently makes it more prestigious. Really? I mean, I really want to go. I hope I can squeeze it in next year. It will be a debate my wife, and we will see when we get closer, but I hope to. I really want to go. The trip is a bit difficult, but
middle of Italy, easy. Just get there.
So but anyways, I really want to go because it feels different. It looks different. The people talking about it and the hype about it. I mean, no one talks about, but this one shouldn't have won. What were the judges doing? Why were they blah, blah, blah? We do that every time with Golden Demon. I mean, we do. Because it's much more about the competition.
Yeah.
No one did here. People have the videos of so many pictures of people out with community. Dinners and who they met and who they talked to and initiation rites and all of that. And then you have a few pictures strewn in where you see some models, but most of what I've seen was actually the community side, which is...
It's people leaving like, I can't wait to keep painting, like this I've made, like, which is maybe a silly thing to say, but I think it's something I do occasionally say, like, I made the right choice getting into this hobby.
Yeah.
It's a bit bloody special when it really comes together like that. And even just seeing it from afar is just like, wow.
Yeah.
What a place.
Damn. Want to go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're locked in for Adepticon.
Yes.
Even though we don't know Golden Demon's happening in Adepticon.
I mean, it seems so weird to me that no one would say, yes, we are there, when they already know.
That's a difficult tweet to write, It's just...
Holy moly, yeah. I guess it really is such a difficult tweet to write. I mean, imagine that you didn't know.
I fully expect, like, we'll be flying out still thinking, I wonder if it's happening.
Yeah. And I was like, maybe we should... It's a long flight, so we can take some vacation time there. Yeah, but it has to be after, not before, because if it's before, we might be sat on the plane still not knowing if it's happening.
Absolutely.
Oh my God! It's about, are we 4 months out or something? It's hotels, it's tickets, it's
4 months.
Yeah, about 4. No, it's not. It's flights, it's hotels, it's tickets, it's transit, it's. Everything has to be planned, and one thing is a short trip to Germany for Spiel is easy for me, but this feels a bit different because it's overseas, right? And I would like for someone to say, yep, it's there. Especially now, I would really like for someone to say, yes, it's definitely there, because
Because we booked
already paid. And it's not that cheap.
No. I think it's good to know that once you win a Golden Demon, you don't then get a little line to Games Workshop where they'll be like, just so you know, it is happening.
No, not at all.
Turns out you're just in the dark as much as the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, I guess if it's not at Adepticon, we're still going and seeing stuff, and I guess we will be having a great time either way. Hopefully, others will be stuck with tickets like we do, and we can do 4 days of vacation time then.
We'll do our own Golden Demon. Don't worry about.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, that's. I think we've probably talked about what we're painting and what we're learning. Although you know, with the Troggoth kind of close, is there a thing that you're coming on to next that you got your eyes on?
I still have to get into the Mega Boss. I keep doing all kinds of procrastination stuff before. Well, I say procrastination stuff, but it's really a matter of getting too far away from an older project. You kind of sometimes, I guess, lose the inspiration or the feel or whatever. So you have such a hard time going back to it.
Yeah.
So when I'm like, I'm inspired right now. I wanna do the thing. I kind of need to not risk losing that project. So that's why I've wrapped up a few things like the base of the Troggoth and Dante and stuff like that. So I still need to get into that. And Colin graciously sent me a bust of an orc. So I think I will be getting into that one too.
Because we got busts coming up in December.
We do.
Yeah.
I mean, so I might have less of a time limit, but I think I will probably set one myself still. It's a complicated one, so it might be, let's say, 15 hours. And it's okay if I go an hour or two over, but I think I will still kind of set a soft limit and then try and get into painting that one, because others have asked me too, what is the next project? And I actually haven't set my sights on what is the next. Well, when people ask what is the next project, it's usually what is the next project that you want to put into competition. Yeah, exactly.
What am I competing against?
Yes, exactly. So
as we know, you need to talk to the Dark Gods again before we.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but you need to sleep for that, which is my issue right now. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so. Maybe in a few months you'll know what you're facing.
Yeah. I have ideas, and this go around, it's something that is not that easy to get here. So, I can say it's Necromunda. They have those gangs, right? And the game is not played that much here, which means stores don't have it much.
Yeah, I mean, for a moment I was like, "You're going to do the mouse strain, aren't you? You're going to put that bad boy together."
Nope.
I'll start that one day. Yeah. Once the models are assembled, still assembling them, still gap filling. It's great fun.
Well, one day it will be your. So, what is the opposite of passion project?
Hatred project.
I guess so.
The hatred project. Look, once they're all assembled and primed, I'll be happy as anything. Until then, I feel like I've made several very large mistakes.
It will look amazing, and you will be on the other side, and you will be thinking, gosh, I'm happy that I did all of that work, because this is what I ended up with.
Because I'm painting my little monster man, and isn't that fun? Yeah. But I got the Blood Angels capped in between that, and that's good to get back to some clean ass Space Marines. It's a great.
Have you figured? Did you make already the base?
I'm building it this weekend. I have the idea for what I want it to be. It's just a case of. I think you may be similar, like as you begin to sculpt, you're like, oh, maybe change this, maybe alter this, see how this composition works.
Yes, I sculpted that Troggoth base, and at some point you kind of half hold, because you have to have things set a bit, before you can sculpt on top of things you've sculpted because the idea you had didn't work out. So yes, I know.
That was when I read the Ultramarine space, I'm like, this is so much stuff. And then like you do, it's kind of fun though. I'm now finding the fun in it. Like that's the thing. It's like it is.
Yeah.
You can treat it not so crunchy, and you can actually be a bit more freewheeling as long as you get to an outcome that you like. And the thing I'm not doing is allowing myself to paint too much before I know what the base is, because otherwise then your NMM reflections don't work and things like that. I don't think.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, over an hour, lot of talk there. So community-wise, we're just capping off the 8-hour challenge. There's still time. If you want to join the community and paint something in 8 hours, you can be in that.
Many 8 hours left.
Yeah, I mean, Cryo Cheese just did 2. For lunatic. Big fan of that. And then, December, we've got the bus challenge. We've got also in the background happening our little Christmas exchange of painted miniatures, which will be very exciting. And we've got a whole host of community things going on as we kind of head into the winter season and not necessarily the Christmas season. And we of course, hope that Magnus gets some sleep in the coming weeks. That'd be nice.
He will.
That'd be a bonus. He will. Good. Okay. Well, then unless you have anything you want to say.
No, nothing else than try and push out of comfort zones. And I think we often find that sometimes you know the answer, and asking it means that others just tell you exactly what you already knew. But sometimes it's the push that you need.
Yeah.
So
sometimes
ask.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Just ask if you need it. Cool. Yeah. Good advice. Wonderful. Well, with that, thank you so much for watching, for listening. Until next time, get painting, get good, and get out of here. So long.